Welcome back. We're reacting to a video from Sabine Hossenfelder on artificial intelligence, and the title is, I don't think we can control AI much longer. Here's why. It's quite a bad video, and I've seen some other videos of hers that were really bad, and people criticized her for that. I didn't see her engage with the criticism at all. I don't see her engage with the criticism this time either. We're going to react to the video, and then we're going to read what GPT has to say after I shared the transcript for this video with GPT. Just watch the video first together. It's only 7 minutes 37. A significant part of that, 2 minutes, I think, is allocated for an ad read. But yeah, this is just, the type of video that she uploads. Okay.
Will we be able to control artificial intelligence if it becomes more intelligent than us? This debate heated up significantly last week after Geoffrey Hinton gave an interview in which he says he's very worried that we'll soon lose control over superintelligent AI. Meta's AI chief Yann LeCun disagrees.
So, two people that have proven themselves in these fields, right? And she will explain who they are, but she's going to start out by saying, I disagree with both of them. Yeah, I just disagree with both of them.
I think they're both wrong.
They're both wrong. Sabine is right. These two experts in these fields are both wrong.
Let's have a look. Geoffrey Hinton is a computer...
She should be working in AI. I think that, she knows stuff that other people don't.
Scientists who played a key role in the development of deep neural networks that current large language models are based on.
So, the concerns that people have is mostly because of this, right?
Last year, he left his position at Google to speak more freely about the risks posed by AI. In an interview with BNN Bloomberg, he now explains his worries.
But most of the researchers I know are fairly confident it will get more intelligent than us. So the real question is, how long will that take?
So superintelligence, when AI is more intelligent than humans, how long will it take until it reaches that point? Scientists agree that it's going to reach that point. And
when it does, will we still be able to keep control?
When it does, can we still keep control?
What are the risks associated with that, in your opinion?
Okay, so how many examples can you tell me about where a more intelligent thing is controlled by a less intelligent thing?
If you watch the video and then go, you don't even have to watch the video, but if you go to the comments, you'll see that a lot of people have examples of less intelligent beings controlling more intelligent beings.
Not a long list.
But the point he's trying to make is when AI, something that we created, he's not talking about birds and stuff like that, but AI, something that humans have created, outsmarts humans. Can we still keep control of the AI, or is it literally going to outsmart us?
Right, not since Biden got elected anyway.
And a jab towards Biden, which, fine, it's Joe.
His argument is that more intelligent beings usually control those of lesser intelligence.
More intelligent beings usually control less intelligent beings. Not by definition, no. That's not what he's saying. He's saying it's kind of unheard of for a less intelligent being to control a more intelligent being. And I think he's not talking about the stuff that she's going to use as examples.
Meta's AI chief Yann LeCun thinks that this isn't so. Intelligence, he says, comes in many different types and doesn't imply an ability to dominate humans. Isn't so.
I've been making that point many times. Intelligence is not a scalar quantity. The space of problems is gigantic. And for a given amount of computing resources, any intelligent system will only excel at a tiny subset of them. Any intelligent system has blind spots, hence vulnerabilities. Intelligence does not imply an ability to dominate humans. It depends on what type of intelligence. Intelligence does not imply a desire to dominate. Even within the human species, intelligent people rarely want to dominate others. If they did, Einstein and Feynman would have been rich and powerful. They were neither. Also true of many of my scientist colleagues. In fact, Jeff points out that until the election of Biden, the most powerful man in the world was not particularly smart, weakening his own argument. Jeff mentions the fact that gaining power is an instrumental sub-goal of achieving any goal, but it's easy to design guardrail objectives to prevent bad things from happening. We already do this all the time by making laws, including for superhuman entities such as corporations and governments. So there are systems in place. There is regulation in place. He's working for Meta. The other guy can speak freely. He's not going to highlight the risks. He's going to focus on how it's under control, right?
He says, comes in many different types and doesn't imply an
So she disagrees with this. Whatever the guy is saying here, she disagrees with all of this.
ability to dominate
Or maybe part of it, but
humans.
let's see.
He's also said on earlier occasions that AI researchers have made good progress in telling AI what they're allowed to do, constraints that he refers to as guardrails. The question becomes one of designing appropriate guardrails. We are familiar with that. He seems very confident and doesn't worry that AI could get out of control.
Okay, she's going to disagree with that.
Here's what Geoffrey Hinton had to say about our odds of survival.
I think we've got a better than even chance of surviving this.
That's very cheerful. What are we to make of this?
Awesome
first
transition.
of all, it's arguably true that a species of higher intelligence doesn't necessarily control one of lesser intelligence.
Nobody claimed this, right? Literally nobody made this claim.
We do not, for example, control viruses and bacteria, and it's not for
Not comparable to AI. It's not, viruses and bacteria are not comparable to AI. They do not function in the same way.
want of trying. So Lecan arguably has a point when he says
There is a survival of the fittest part.
that
And
intelligence is not per se a tool of control. It doesn't even necessarily bring a desire for control. No one really wants to control fish or birds.
no way she's editing those things herself. But a lot of people would like to control fish and birds if they could. If you can make money out of something, people want to do it. So that is not true. But these examples are just so ridiculous.
They do their thing, we do ours. But
What is your
I think
point?
that looking at it from the perspective of control is not particularly useful.
Looking at it from the perspective of control, can we still control it, or it's out of our control? Okay, very clear. She's saying don't think of it as a matter of control. It's not useful. Dear scientists, it's not about control and having guardrails, controlling what it can and cannot do, making sure, controlling that it's always aligned with human interests and blah, blah, blah. And she's saying control is the wrong perspective.
Because it would require you to figure out what control means in the first.
Technically speaking, control can be very easily defined. So that's really not a problem.
Do we control cats or do they control us? Sometimes I wonder. I think it's easier and more insightful to look at it
Making science easier to
from the
digest
perspective of competition for resources.
out of the blue. And she's basically going to say that AI is going to, we can't control AI because the larger it is, the more variance there will be, the more randomness there will be. She will explain that, and it will compete with us for resources.
Species take up space in ecosystems because they require land and energy and nutrients and materials. This makes me think that the relevant question will eventually be whether an intelligent AI will leave humans sufficient resources to continue making progress.
What? It's going to compete for fish. It's going to compete for food with us. It's not going to give us enough living space. It's competing with AI as if it's an animal, a new type of human that will outcompete us because it has been designed to compete with us and basically use resources that we have not allocated for ourselves, so we're going to starve.
And leave us in the dust. The problem is that the more intelligent they are, the easier they'll outcompete us.
The more intelligent they are, the easier they will outcompete us. Is based on the assumption that there will be competition between us and the AI for resources, while the AI is not going to gather resources on its own. It's designed to do something. the second person she was quoting mentioned this, right? It has a specific task, and that task has been selected, designed, because it's doing something for a company that is valuable, it's doing something for a consumer that could be valuable, it could be doing something for a farmer that is valuable. So yes, but the farmer that has an AI to gather resources, to farm resources, it's not going beyond the fence and gather resources from someone else's property, right? She's just like pretending as if all of a sudden it will just compete for resources.
To see how this might play out.
And then she's like, oh, let me tell you something more about how AI works. So it sounds like it makes sense and I know what I'm talking about.
We have to distinguish two different parts of the AI species, so to speak. There is the code that's being trained on the data. Let me call this the mother code. Training the mother code takes up a lot of time and energy and data. And then there is the fully trained result. If you're working with deep neural nets, then that would be the weights. The trained result is something that...
This does not matter at all. In the bigger scheme of things, the idea of like, hey, they can't actually learn, right? We all know that learning, whatever, however you define it, it's on the roadmap.
You can copy and deploy, for example, in robotic devices. While it doesn't have the same ability to learn as the mother code, it can
It's not like that will not change.
maintain a limited ability to learn. And also you can set it up to communicate with the mother code. I'm not just making
Nobody is thinking you're making shit
this
up.
as I go along. There are many companies already working on doing that.
Just adding a GPT to Windows, adding a GPT to your phone, so there's an app like, oh my god, they're doing what?
Putting a small trained AI on your computer locally and only on occasion accessing a bigger one through the cloud. But
Yeah, but it's not like there won't be a lot of connections to the cloud. It's going to be a constant thing, right? You're severely limiting the services when it's not actually allowed to reference anything in the cloud. New information,
a lot of
new
computer
stuff.
scientists overestimate how deterministic increasingly large systems are going to be.
So she's basically saying about the field that she's not an expert in. Like all those scientists are like, they're kind of not getting it, guys. They don't get it.
I believe that the larger they become, the more random deviations you're going to get from the original code. Indeed, at some point, the non-determinism will probably become essential for the systems to continue improving.
So basically, at a certain point, they're going to be so large and complex that they will just introduce some randomness. She has like a video about free will and super determinism is like her thing, and she's like, free will does not exist, right? This is why. Yeah, I don't like her videos. But positioning this as the reason why we're going to lose control, because they're so large that they introduce a variance, it's going to not always do exactly what you expect it to do.
That is the very thing that will make AI super intelligent, is the thing that will also allow them to circumvent all guardrails.
The thing that will make it super intelligent is the thing that will allow it to circumvent our guardrails. So the technical guardrails, code, restrictions put in place that the AI cannot ignore, because those are just rules and it needs to follow those rules.
We tend to think of computers as perfect reproduction machines, but they're not. Your computer doesn't work the same way as my computer, even if you have the same hardware and software. It's because
how is this related to AI taking over, right? GPU fingerprinting is like used as an argument for why AI is always different. Like if you compare two AIs, they're going to be different because they're running on different machines and the temperature of the CPU and this and that is different and blah, blah, blah.
it basically
You have different memory.
forces your graphics processing unit to render an image, and that contains details about the exact way that your GPU works, which depends on the exact variations in the way it was produced and how you
But the game is still running approximately the same,
handled it
right?
and its entire history.
It's not going to suddenly generate a different game on your screen. Like you're playing Call of Duty and then suddenly it's like Rayman 3. Come
For
on.
the moment, that doesn't make much of a difference. But I believe, and I want to be really clear, that this is just a belief, that
Based on what? A belief based on what?
these small physical differences are going to become increasingly relevant.
That's the thing we need to worry about. these small differences between AIs because they're outputting something that is not significantly different, but it will become more significantly different when you compare them. This will only get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we just lose control. And then it will compete for resources. It doesn't, it will prevent us from gathering food and resources.
Difference to what an AI learns, what they conclude, and what they do next. And this is why I think it won't matter what guardrails you put on your training model. They'll grow out of it anyway.
They'll grow out of all the guardrails for training models. They're going to, okay.
So what can we do? The solution is clearly to build AI on Mars, and while we're at it already, maybe we can send all the moon landing deniers there too. That should be interesting. One of them...
I'm not a flat earth or moonlander denier or whatever, but I find it quite ridiculous to throw in something like that in a video like this.
Most annoying things about news reading is that everyone covers this.
That's the ad read. That's the ad read. The rest of the video is just her reading the ad and telling you you need a subscription to figure out if you can trust a website or a news website, which to me sounds ridiculous. If you cannot research the news source, if a news source interests you and you cannot research that news source and see if there are any other references to it, come on. Is it really difficult to just keep that in mind? To Google it? Is it left or right? Just research your news sources a little bit. Is it really that difficult? I'm not going to check the rest of the ad read. I don't really care about that stuff. But let's see what AI has to say about her video about the risks of AI. Let's see. Geoffrey Hinton's viewpoint. Video's representation. Hinton is worried that humans will soon lose control over superintelligent AI. The video summarizes his view as more intelligent beings usually control those of lesser intelligence. Actual view. Hinton has expressed concerns about the rapid development of AI and the potential for superintelligent AI to act in ways that are not aligned with human interests. His concern is based on the unpredictability of AI systems as they surpass human intelligence and the difficulty of ensuring they remain aligned with human values. Video's critique. The video critiques Hinton's view by arguing that intelligence does not necessarily lead to control, using examples like viruses and bacteria. The video oversimplifies Hinton's argument by focusing narrowly on the idea of intelligence equating to control. Hinton's actual concern is more about the alignment and unpredictability of intelligent AI, rather than a direct analogy to biological systems. Yep. Jan LeCun's viewpoint. LeCun argues that intelligence comes in many forms and does not inherently mean an ability to dominate humans. He believes in developing guardrails to ensure AI behaves within acceptable bounds. Actual view. LeCun has consistently argued that while AI poses risks, these can be managed through proper design, regulations, and safety measures. He emphasizes the importance of developing ethical guidelines and technical solutions to control AI behavior. Video's critique. The video suggests that LeCun is overly confident and underestimates the potential for AI to circumvent these guardrails due to non-deterministic behaviors in large systems. Assessment. The video somewhat misrepresents LeCun's view by portraying him as dismissive of the risks. In reality, LeCun acknowledges the challenges, but believes they can be managed through rigorous scientific and engineering efforts. Specific criticisms from the video. Intelligence and control. The video argues that higher intelligence does not guarantee control, using examples from biology. This critique is partially valid, but misrepresents the nuanced concerns of AI alignment and control. Guardrails and determinism. The video claims that as AI systems grow more complex, they will become non-deterministic and thus able to circumvent guardrails. This point is speculative and does not fully account for ongoing research in AI safety, which aims to develop robust and reliable control mechanisms even for highly complex systems. Resource competition. The video introduces the idea that AI might outcompete humans for resources. This scenario is speculative, I would say highly speculative, and not grounded in current AI capabilities or objectives. Most AI systems are designed with specific narrow tasks in mind. Revisiting the critique of the video. Misrepresentation of views. The video simplifies and somewhat misrepresents the nuanced positions of both Hinton and LeCun. It fails to acknowledge the depth of their arguments about AI alignment, control, and safety. Agreed. Not good. Not a good thing to do, in my opinion, when they are the experts, right? Accuracy of criticism. While the video raises important concerns about AI control, it actually completely says that it's not an interesting view at all, control. It does so in a manner that could be seen as alarmist and lacking in concrete evidence. It overlooks the significant efforts being made in the AI community to address these very issues. Improved critical analysis. Nuanced understanding of intelligence and control. Intelligence does not automatically confer control, but the risk of misaligned superintelligent AI is a valid concern. Hinton's focus is on the difficulty of ensuring alignment as AI surpasses human intelligence, which is not adequately addressed in the video. True. Realistic view of guardrails. LeCun's optimism is grounded in the ongoing development of safety measures. The video's dismissal of guardrails as ineffective due to non-determinism is speculative, I would say highly speculative, and doesn't reflect the current state of research in AI safety. So she doesn't seem to research AI safety before making a video like this. Speculative nature of research competition. The video's portrayal of AI competing for resources lacks basis in current AI technology and objectives. This point can cause unnecessary fear rather than fostering an informed discussion about AI risks and management. So here's Sabina, here's the feedback from GPT when you want to make another video. Make sure to accurately represent the expert views. Ensure that the views of Hinton and LeCun are accurately presented. Highlight their actual arguments about AI alignment and control without oversimplifying their positions. We don't want to control the birds. The birds do what they want to do, and we do what we want to do. Nobody wants to control the fish. Focus on concrete evidence. Avoid speculative scenarios. They're going to compete for food and resources unless clearly stated as such. Base the discussion on current AI capabilities and ongoing research efforts. Like, see in what direction it's actually moving. And she doesn't talk about that stuff at all, except for the fact that it's introducing some randomness or whatever. Encourage a balanced perspective. And I think this one is really good. Foster a more balanced and nuanced discussion by inviting viewers to consider multiple perspectives and the complexities involved in AI development and control. By incorporating these elements, your video can offer a more accurate and balanced critique of the original content, providing valuable insights into the ongoing conversation about AI safety and control. Incorporate these elements, highlight these points, make sure it's balanced. Yeah, there are differing views, right? Someone that works for the company that is owning the AI they have an incentive to make sure that people trust them and think they have everything under control and that it will not change, that they're managing the risk. And the guy that stepped out of the company is like, hey, I don't think we can control it. I'm worried, right? So what I really disliked about this video was starting the video and just dismissing their views, which is not just a short segment. Like, he's not, like, you're not going to win the argument by giving examples of like the birds and stuff like that. Like, we know, even though we see like a short segment, we know that they understand the bigger picture. Like, nothing she says has convinced me that they are wrong in their beliefs. I think they're both right. I'm leaning more towards the guy saying, hey, there is a risk and there's a concern, than the company managing that AI, reassuring us that there's nothing for us to worry about because they know what they're doing. Trust us. But the competition for resources is just ridiculous. And like, yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. Skynet might take over, but not for the reason Sabine is trying to convince you of why it will happen. I think that's just ridiculous. But I would have preferred if she just provided an overview of like, hey, actually teach people more about this stuff. And I don't think anyone learned anything, because if you read the comments, it's like everyone agrees that she doesn't really understand how it works. Yeah, I'm out.